It's time for your Tuesday edition of the Carrier Update sponsored by AT&T Business. My name is Cunningham. Let's go ahead and jump in. Exciting things happening for the outbound tender volume USA. Now we're looking at a 4.2% increase in volumes from March 1st, 2018. That sounds complicated, but guess what? That means good news all around for carriers. That's talking about a lot of optionality. So this yellow line here is our outbound tender volume. You can see it ebbs and flows. We've got periods of holidays where it's going to drop down. Those tenders are not rolling out. As soon as they come back, you can see blazing right back in. So here's what's interesting. If you look at the general trend of our blue mountain here, your outbound tender reject index, in comparison with your outbound tender volume, from July of this year, you have seen an absolute drop off yet again of the outbound tender reject, while the outbound tender volume is reaching all-time highs. So what does that say? That's a lot of optionality out there for carriers, but there's a lot of capacity in the market driving those rates down. You've got to stay rolling. You've got to keep your trucks moving. And speaking of that, let's go ahead and take a look next. Erie, Pennsylvania, big moves today. So we're talking 10.66 on the outbound tender reject index. That's 0.66 above a carrier-dominated market sentiment. So you can see here yet again your yellow line, your outbound volume for Erie itself shooting up in same regard to the outbound rejections. In terms of optionality, you've got choices. A lot of outbound and not as much inbound. So a great market for carriers to take a look at today. Let's move over next, talking about Rapid City, South Dakota. Now a pretty quiet market all around, but same story in terms of optionality. A 77% increase as of yesterday in terms of outbound tender rejections to bring it to 18.6. Now that's a very favorable number for carriers, but here's the interesting thing. A lot of inbound volume, so a lot of available capacity, and not a lot of outbound volume. Outbound volume, yellow line actually trending down, so if you're near Rapid City, maybe route yourself over. Like I said, keep yourself moving. Next up, talking about the inbound rejections. Now we talk a lot about outbound rejections, for sure, getting those rates when you're leaving. Let's talk about the concept of being paid to do something that somebody else doesn't want to do. So talk about Shreveport, Louisiana, not a lot of folks want to go in there, 10.8% on the inbound rejections. So if you're headed into Shreveport, get a little more for your troubles. Texarkana, Texas, same story, talking about Dubuque, Iowa, Montgomery, Alabama. This is a index that you absolutely must pay attention to. And that's why it's important to make sure you look at the inbound rejections. Hey, thank you so much for watching your Carrier Update sponsored by AT&T Business. My name is Cunningham. We'll see you next time.
Improve your fleet's efficiency with AT&T Fleet Complete, a 4G solution for tracking vehicles and simplifying ELD compliance. AT&T Fleet Complete, delivering fleet solutions for every business.